Several minutes of commercial-free football starts now.
Here are the Purple Mortgage guys.
Hey, welcome to another episode, a victorious episode of Purple Mortgage Guys, coming to you after the Saints-Vikings game. Vikings come out on top. Guys, it was an interesting day again. I think Tanner and I, we predicted a loss before the game. Goose predicted the W. It was a one-score game. It looked like at halftime it was going to be a blowout, and I actually looked up the score of the Chargers game in 2019 because that one always gets referenced as the last big blowout, which was 39-10. Didn't turn out that way, but still came out victorious. Goose, I'll give you first word because you predicted the W. So how did you think the game went today?
First half was fun. It was really fun. It's been a while since we saw kind of all facets of the game come together, and I think I might have texted the word electric like 12 times just because Dobbs is fun to watch. He's a lot of fun to watch. I don't know that I would go as far as saying like, see you later, Kirk Cousins, but there's moments where it's like, all right, this mobility thing is pretty nice. And then he might miss a throw. Or I think the thing that you appreciate about Kirk is not only like all of his completions, but a lot of times he's hitting him in stride or back shoulder to protect the guy. Or I don't want to lose my appreciation for Kirk and my admiration for Dobbs, but just a really fun game. I mean, the defense was absolutely lights out in the first half. They were all over the field. Even if they weren't getting home on Derek Carr, they were making him feel the pressure, and it's just super fun game to watch. Second half was a little nerve-wracking. I think we'll go into that a little bit further a bit later, but it's hard to put my finger on what exactly was happening. It just wasn't good, and I think with the first touchdown was like, all right, like 2-score game, we're fine. But I know in the back of my head, like, we got to score here because this doesn't feel good. And it was good that they hung on. I think that also showed them something. And in games like this, I always think maybe they learn a little bit more from a game where they get exposed a little bit more in the second half than if they just ran away and blew the team out. So we'll see. But another win, 5 straight in the NFL is never easy, and you kind of have to enjoy that.
Tanner, you were at the game. You saw a W, so that was good. Overall thoughts: first half, second half, Josh Dobbs, the whole thing. What's your takeaway?
Yeah, it was a fun game to attend. Josh Dobbs looked really good again. He looked like he's been running this offense for like 5 years, which still just doesn't make sense, and it almost seems too good to be true. And I think we could probably throw Kevin O'Connell's name in for Coach of the Year at this point. I'm really glad that we got 2 relatively easy games. I know no game in the NFL is considered easy, but it's nice to have our next 2 games be against opponents that are sub 500 to try and get our health bug turned around here. I know JJ should be coming off IR, and I think Davenport has a chance to come back next week as well. We just have a lot of injuries. Madison went out with a concussion today. KJ Osborne obviously missed today. It sounds like he could have played. He was cleared, but I think pending a visit with O'Connell, it sounds like they decided to keep him out. But we just have a lot of injuries. Jordan Hicks got hurt again today as well, and it sounds like his might actually keep him out a while. So TJ Hawkinson's not 100% healthy either. I need to give him some love, but I'll maybe wait till later in the video to do that.
This was going to be the night where you forgave TJ, but no.
I mean, I don't necessarily really need to forgive him, but he just definitely deserves a little bit of love. He played like a $17 million tight end today, and that's what we needed. And I think for him to do that, playing from what it sounds like, he's playing through quite a bit of pain with his ribs. So a lot of respect to him and catching every ball that was thrown at him today, it seemed like, for the most part. So everything looked good, and I'm excited to get to Denver and hopefully get a win out of that as well and be 7-4.
My biggest thing was Dobbs in the first half and the offense in general. Like, I don't remember being that excited about a regular season game for quite some time the way. And then it kind of reminded me, do you guys remember that Steelers game from a couple years ago? I think it was maybe a Thursday night game where we had this huge lead and then almost evaporated at the end again. I didn't feel like that was going to happen with our defense. And I was at the game too with the kids, and I told my oldest daughter, I'm like, just watch Jameis Winston will throw some throw some picks because he turns the ball over. He's got a cannon for an arm. Sure enough, he's overshooting guys by 10, 20 yards on some of those throws. And then he did give us the ball back. But the one thing I keep thinking of is, we signed Dobbs a week and a half ago, a little over. And if Jaron didn't get concussed last week or didn't get hurt, Dobbs probably doesn't see the field. This would have been his first game. And we would have been amazed by this after a week and a half in the playbook. So we got to remember, every other team, for the most part, has guys that have been at OTAs, been at training camp, preseason games, 9 regular season games to get to this point in the season. And Dobbs is thrown in there right now. So it's either a really good performance by Dobbs as a quarterback and an athlete, or an amazing performance by KOC, or maybe a combination of both. But there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, regardless of what happened in the second half. And like you said, Goose, we can get into that here in a bit. But man, that looked explosive again. First half, I don't even know. Did Dobbs have all of his rushing yards in the first half? I want to say he probably was close to it. And we didn't score another touchdown in the second half. I think we got a field goal, maybe the first possession, and then didn't score the rest of the way. So we had a ton of points and a ton of yards racked up in that first half. But I did not predict that. I predicted, I think what I had in my head was our offense would look like it did the second half the entire game. And that obviously was not the case. So you guys know who did do a really good job at predicting this game? Probably one of our two most loyal listeners, and it's either Bob or Judy. But Judy nailed the game. She said the Vikings will continue to shock the world. Vikes win 27-19. She posted that a couple days ago. So shout out to Judy. We always love the comments. There's a lot of comments on this last one, but that was fun. We also had a few Saints fans a few days ago chirping a little bit and saying that this won't age well. I probably didn't listen to the episode because Tanner and I didn't predict a win, so maybe it didn't age well. But I think, Goose, they were pecking at you a little bit there, and saw that you got the last word in there, so that was fun to see. But guys, keep up the comments. Throw them in the episode for tonight's episode. We'd love to read them on the next one. And if you've not yet subscribed, by all means, go ahead and do that as well. But guys, let's get into some.
For Judy to predict that exactly when she guessed like an oddball score, like a 27-19, I love it.
Judy knew to be a 3-score game with 3 2-point conversions, and she knew they'd get the first 2, but Jameis would throw up a couple ducks there for us on the third one. So guys, let's get into some rants and raves. Feels like a game of two halves. I'm curious where you're going to go with this, but obviously we won the game. Most important thing, you win a game. Shouldn't really be complaining about too much, but let's start with the raves then, I guess, since we did win. So Tanner, what do you got? What were you most excited about, or who do you want to shout out on the win?
I have a few, but I got to pick my favorite, huh? Goose, you go first.
Tanner's deferring to the second half. He won the coin toss.
Okay. I gotta go with the defensive unit.
Okay. One player, one name. You can go Brian Flores if you want.
One name. I gotta go Brian Flores then.
Okay.
The defense the first half completely gained us some momentum. The plays that they made to keep them to 3 points. And then when they did come back into the game, every time it took an unbelievable throw across the field in tight coverage on a kind of 50-50 crazy play. Both of their in zone touchdowns were like unbelievable. Throw, catch, coverage, like, so if that's what it takes to score touchdowns on this defense, hats off to them. I got to give my flowers to Brian Flores and just really, really hope that he hates being a head coach and that he just wants to stay here forever.
I am going to give mine. I'm going to leave TJ on the table for Tanner to scoop that one up. And if he doesn't want to, we'll just collectively give him a nice little shout out here at the end for playing through injury and playing well. I'm going to give mine to Ty Chandler. I sent you guys a text. I said, happy Ty Chandler Day, because I think he's going to get the ball. Scored a nice little touchdown on a Wildcat. Looked explosive. Guys, he's fast. He was flying through the hole. Probably should have had that. Was it 32-yard or 23-yard? I don't remember. And then I think Brian O'Neill got tackled and they called him for a hold. So who knows what that was all about. But, man, he looks good. I don't know what he must really not be good at picking up protections on pass blocking and not see the field more. Can't think of what other reason you'd have for not playing him. But hopefully we see him a lot more. Maybe not on third down if it's an obvious passing situation. But, man, he looked good. So give him a shout out. Tanner, what do you got?
Yeah, I suppose I'll take TJ Hawkinson. He can have my flowers.
Begrudgingly, is that the word?
For this week. So put up all those stats actually in the first half too. He was very quiet in the second half. But to play through rib pain like that, you're going to take shots as a tight end, getting hit out of bounds and catching curl routes and turning around and have a linebacker thump you. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. And to catch, what did he have? 12 catches, like 130 yards or something like that. And I actually had the perfect view of his touchdown pass from the other end of the field. That was super cool to watch. I wish I could show that to people from my point of view, but yeah, I'll give some love to TJ this week. I hope he can keep doing that going forward here this year and stop dropping passes.
He didn't drop. Did he drop anything?
No,
today?
he didn't. I think this is the first game. I think this is the first game this year. I haven't seen him drop a pass.
I think on the first drive there was a ball that was his way, but it got called back for something.
You guys realize we didn't turn the ball over at all today, right? Man,
I don't like that you made me pick one player here, Brent, because there's a lot of people that deserve a lot of love again today.
Yeah, I think we'd have a long episode if we talked about everyone.
I can't believe neither of you picked Josh Dobbs
or KOC. A sneaky one that I wanted to call out, but there's been way too many good performances is Powell. Like, Powell's stepping up, and he never blows up the stat sheet, but it's always like, oh, my headset's going out. It's always like a sneaky
security
play
blanket.
that we need someone to come up big, and like Powell's always there. Always.
You guys think about this. There's no Jefferson, no Osborne. TJ's playing hurt. Like, what's it going to look like after the bye, we'll say, right? It's going to be fun.
Get healthy. Yeah, hope so.
Yeah, obviously. No, Josh Dobbs, I think that's almost like too obvious because I want to speak this Ty Chandler thing into existence just because I want him to see the field more. But, yeah, Dobbs looked – I don't know how far, what was that? The touchdown run, how many yards was it? 20?
I was going to say about 20 yards, 15 to 20 yards probably. I mean, he ran like 40, but yeah.
That was like 3rd and 6 or something. So I feel like could have been sacked there. Was he sacked just one time?
7 yards, Brent. But it did feel long. It did feel like a long run.
It was only 7?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he ran like all over the field to get that. But
1 sack of 5 yards.
But that one got us out of field goal range, and that was right after, I believe, the holding call.
Yeah. It felt way longer than 5 yards. I felt like that was a big sack that brought us back. But
yeah. What do you guys got for we'll kind of pick at some threads here. What's the rant look like for each of you? Tanner, you want to defer again, or do you want to take this one?
No, I'll take this one because I only have one. I think only one person I want to complain about, and I can't even. I have to be. I don't want anybody to pick my words apart here, but it's Kevin O'Connell and the whole situation with Madison and Ty Chandler before Alex Madison got hurt. So I don't know how many other people recognize this, but Ty Chandler had a very excellent drive, scored a touchdown, and then they started the next drive with Madison. Like, why do you go away from your hot hand? I just don't. I will never ever understand that. Like, ride the guy that's getting yards.
What is the case for that then? Is it something to do like next level? We wouldn't understand pass protection.
I don't know. Like, I don't even think you can say it's pass protection because they literally split series. Like one series, it was Madison the entire time, and then the next series, it's Chandler the entire time. And then they flipped it back again. Like, I don't understand why you think you need to flip these guys in and out every other drive. Like, ride the guy that is putting up.
It seems like his season long philosophy. Like, even when we were doing the exact same thing for Cam Akers week after week after week. Like, hey, Cam looks more explosive, play Cam. And now he's doing the same. I think it must be his philosophy of, and there could be some pressure of
keep your backs fresh.
That, and then there could be a little bit of pressure of, we didn't give him a huge contract, but we gave him a decent sized contract. And I wonder if there's any bit of Kwesi that's like, I want to see him on the field a little bit.
I don't know.
It feels like
that's
Chandler and Longo, they can get to the edge so fast. It just opens up the next level of. I think we're going to see a ton of creativity with different things. Just I don't know. Have you ever seen us out of the Wildcat?
Ty Chandler's touchdown wasn't a Wildcat.
Yeah, I said besides that.
Ty Chandler's touchdown was a Wildcat.
No, I know, but have you ever seen that like in recent memory?
Oh, no.
Direct snap? No, I didn't either.
And under a Mike Zimmer run team? Never. They would never, ever do such a thing.
I've always been a little hesitant towards it unless it's an entire package, just because like the play worked, so I can't complain. But like motioning Dobbs into like a slot receiver role, normally the benefit of Wildcat is you don't have to account for the quarterback. Well, you really don't have to account for Dobbs in the slot, and you can kind of sell out. But it worked, and it was creative, and I'm excited for the offense to get healthier, because I think what might have been part of the second half today is when you're working with no KJ, no JJ, no Madison, no Cam Akers, like KOC has to really dial some stuff up, and maybe some of these receivers play to the benefit of a guy like Dobbs who's going to move and create. Like part of me wonders with JJ coming back, more of a true wide receiver technician. Like I worry he's going to be open in that small window where you need anticipation and you need to put it right on the dot. I'm a little worried that that's not going to work as well with Dobbs. Not that he can't be accurate, but it's tough.
But is there more? This is where you guys would know more than me, but like with Kirk, it's either you're open on the first like read or first or second break, or like the play is dead, right? With Dobbs, it's like he could be scrambling around there for 3 or 4 seconds. And I think that big play of Hawkinson, or I don't know if you guys saw that. I mean, you remember the play, but then we ended up at like the 10-yard line. Reisner came in there with a full head of steam and like just smoked the whole pile like for another 10 yards.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Did you see him karate kick after he did it?
Yeah. But I wonder like how much of it is like these receivers now, like they may feel like they're covered, but then the play breaks down and you're still, I always think of Aaron Rodgers in those plays in his prime, like extended the play. And then there's a guy, streaking downfield and he hits him on a broken play. So I wonder how much of that we're going to see when JJ's back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the win of it. And then one thing I've never felt like it was better with TJ's play, but I always felt like our wide receivers weren't as good in that scramble drill as like the Aaron Rodgers Packers. It seemed like everyone was on the same page and someone would go deep and someone would come back to the quarterback and he'd always make a play there. And I feel like I've seen some scramble drills with the Vikings and you see like the all 22 and it's like some guy stopped running and it's like, no, that's your play. I also, when Dobbs drew them off sides and went deep. Like, didn't work out for anything, but that's another play that I just don't see the Vikings get
50
very
yards
often.
downfield every time you get a PI or obviously a reception, but I loved it. Not the CJ check down that we've seen in years past. I think Kirk got better at it recently, but I know exactly what you mean. Okay, so we got the KOC running back rotation. Goose, what do you got for a rant after a win?
I was gonna do a unit again, but
well, the head of the unit is
which unit?
Our running game, and which Matt, I don't know. Madison's a role in it, and I hate ranting about a guy who got concussed and is putting it all out there on the line. He has runs where he just hits the hole really hard and picks up 6-7 yards when it didn't seem like there was a lot there. But a big part of having a lead like we did today, you've got to be able to run the ball and eat some clock. And we don't have it. And it feels like at some point that's going to come back to bite us a little bit, especially until we get to full health. There's only teams start to figure you out when you're limited. And if that means they put a spy on Dobbs and you can play man-to-man with guys like Bilal Powell and Jalen Naylor and lock them down and you can't run, that's a recipe to kind of lose this win streak we've got. So it's just hard to pinpoint one thing. And the closest thing I have to it is Alexander Mattison, because when Ty Chandler comes in there, it's been a little bit more successful. But at the end of the game today, when they knew we were running the ball, which it's always hard to run on. So, I mean, that kind of goes to your offensive line, who's been great in pass protection. It just doesn't seem like they have what they need to really win the line of scrimmage. And there's certain teams out there that can.
They do have. They're good at run blocking. We have success with Ty Chandler because he can get to a hole quickly, and Madison is so damn slow.
But he averaged 3 yards a carry, and that was mainly because of the end of the game when they knew we were running. There's certain teams out there that they could say, hey, we're running the ball, and they're going to have success still. It's not a lot of teams that can do that. I just don't think that we're one of them. And I think there's going to be options out there to improve, but a big one is going to be, I think, Ty Chandler getting more touches. Kane, and I agree with Brent. Like, seeing Kane get the edge today was exciting. I do feel like the couple of carries that he had on inside runs showed his limitations as a well-balanced back, which is a bit of a bummer because he's got great size and great speed. He's a little bit more upright too. But I hope Ty Chandler there's a real good opportunity for him this upcoming week. And I still think Alexander Mattison can provide a lot of value if he can continue to hit a hole hard and put his head down and keep moving. So hopefully they can become a dynamic 1-2 punch moving forward. It's just going to see how it plays out, I guess.
Guys, I'll go with my rant here a little bit, and then we'll get into one other topic of discussion that I think is interesting to get your take on it.
Yours has to be Greg Joseph, right?
No, actually, it's not, because it's a 54
the only
yarder.
thing left. It's the only thing left to rant about.
I'm gonna rant on the
Sean Mannion.
However, the challenge process goes through this coaching staff with KOC and what they challenge and what they don't, and when they do and when they don't. I don't know what the broadcasts look like, Goose, on the would-be Jordan Addison touchdown. But the ball clearly came out and hit the ground, and there was like a split second where he may have had possession. But there's no way that's going to be.
I still think that was 100% a peer pressure flag toss by O'Connell. I don't think he actually wanted to challenge that. I just think the crowd was like, throw the damn flag.
You can't do that.
No, I agree. But I that was immediately like what I thought, because he stood there the entire time. Like, I think they were almost ready to get on their playoff, and he's like, all right, I'll check.
And then he slammed it down like he was mad. Like, I can't believe you missed this call. And like, it wasn't even close.
Or
And then
I
the
can't
second
believe
one-
I'm doing this.
The second one, we actually won the challenge on a technicality because it was a completed pass, but I think they actually gained a yard out of it and the clock was running. But that too, I don't think there was any way that was being over. And the only thing, it really didn't matter, right? Because on the game but can you imagine if there would have been a clear one in the last however many minutes left in the game and we would have been out of challenges? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
That's
it's
nitpicking, but
It's
I
a good
feel
rant.
I get
clean that up a little bit.
Even Jordan Addison looked like they showed, the broadcast showed like a close up on his face, and he was kind of like I don't feel like, I know the ball came out. The second one, I'm pissed off at the refs. I can't handle the refs blowing another play dead when there's no, because the play wasn't dead.
It was a split second. It was like one frame by one frame. It was like off the ground, on the ground. Ball was in his hand. Ball was coming loose, right?
Because they just ruled it as an incomplete pass. That was their ruling. He very clearly repossessed it and was moving upfield. The fumble itself was a millisecond of the butt touching the ground and it coming out.
And that one I'm actually okay with, because that one could have completely changed the game and ended the game.
For sure.
Even though, I mean, it was so close, and to slow it down and review it 10 times within really 15, 20 seconds, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
But that first one, the ball was on the ground. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed very obvious after the first take that it was not going to get overturned. So
my only thought was he went up, caught it 2 feet down, and then like Travis Kelce getting the ball ripped out of his hands.
Which I also don't agree with that. That was the Chiefs' rule there.
That was a catch. So I was like, well, he possessed it, feet in bounds. Does he have to survive the ground? Apparently he does.
So you think that was a catch?
Not by rule, but
with
by
your purple
Travis
colored
Kelce
glasses
law.
on, you thought it was a catch. Okay.
By Travis Kelce law, I did.
All right. I want to get your take on this. I don't remember what yard line, but it ended up being a 54-yard field goal. And it felt like, man, if we miss this, it's going to get real tense in here. And sure enough, not only did we miss it, but we ran them out there for 10 seconds to click off the third quarter, basically iced our own kicker, and then ran him out again. He misses it. Saints take over at the 44-yard line, have a short field. I believe they scored on that next possession. But regardless, like the whole vibe, Tanner, you agree, in the stadium was like, okay, here we go, same old Vikings again, right? So we can't lose this after being up 27-3, but that's kind of what it felt like. So what would you guys have done there? Would you have kicked the field goal like we did? Would you have gone for it, or would you have pinned them deep?
I probably would kick the field goal.
Okay.
I actually feel like Greg Joseph notoriously has actually been pretty good from long range. So, and it's indoors, so I feel pretty good about it.
I don't think
I
there's probably not even a right or wrong answer. It's just,
yeah,
it's so easy in hindsight because he missed it, obviously.
I did that thought did cross my mind, but I still felt like the entire game today, I don't ever think, even up until their last drive that the Saints had the ball, I felt like the Vikings looked like the better team almost all day today. Like, yeah. I didn't have a moment, I don't think once, where I was like, yeah, we should win this game or we're going to lose this game. Like it felt like from the first quarter all the way to the end of the fourth quarter that they
Saints
had
are a good team though, too, right? Their defense is legit.
No, the Saints are, I think, yeah, they're for a 5-5 team. I think they have a top 10 defense, and I think they have a slightly above average offense as well. So I think a lot of people aren't maybe giving them enough credit. But
so I wasn't mad at the call. There was Ryan Wright was really good his rookie year at not having any touchbacks. I feel like since then he's had a handful of them, and the risk of punting the ball and having a touchback and only like netting like 20 yards is painful. The field goal is by far a gimme at 54 yards. And I don't have a ton of confidence in Dobbs. This is one thing where if Kirk's my quarterback, I think I maybe kick the field goal with a big physical quarterback with athletic ability. There was a play where we were in our own territory, I think around the 40, and it was like 4th and less than a yard. I would have gone for it there, which maybe I'm fired next week if we lose this game and I was going for it in our own territory. But I think you spread out the field with Hawkinson and Powell and Addison, and you have the running threat to not get a yard just seems wild to me, especially with Dobbs' elusiveness. So I think I would go for it there. I get kicking a field goal and trying to make it a 3-score game, and he had the leg to do it. He just hasn't been super accurate this year and struggled a little bit last year. And when I know historically, I agree with Tanner on long field goals, but I think a lot of his misses last year were extra points or 50 plus, where it's like, oh, you can't really count that against him. I think I go for that and try to give the defense a little bit of a break because they were holding strong all game.
I wonder what percentage chance that is to make that 54 for him or for an NFL kicker in general. Instead of like a 50-50 thing? I feel like against us, it's like a 70% thing.
Yeah.
Well, at least we didn't see Sean Mannion today, Tanner. I don't know if you saw him throwing on the sideline when Dobbs would warm up, but I'm
no
convinced
friends.
he may actually be left-handed. He just doesn't realize it. And
I
think KOC might be the better quarterback even now.
I was watching him like in between quarters and like
Yes.
coming out of the half and throwing just in pregame and stuff. I cannot believe that Sean Mannion is an NFL player. He looks like he's in pain when he throws a ball. Like I just cannot believe
He looks like he's
even
50,
on an
doesn't he?
NFL team. He does.
Does he look like he's
50
50?
years old out there.
Yeah.
He looks like
I think
he's
I said that on our last episode.
extremely poor condition. And when because him and Dobbs were throwing to each other coming out of the half, like just like a 15-yard passes, and like Dobbs would rip it a little bit, like he wouldn't chuck it at him, but he'd rip it a little bit. And like watching Mannion throw the ball back to him, I'm just like, this guy would never ever give anybody a chance. Like he is. I just cannot believe he's on. He must be a genius.
When they had the roughing the passer penalty and Dobbs got hit in the face, kind of got slung back and hit the turf. I'm like, oh, if they make him come out for the concussion protocol, Tanner's going to have to leave the stadium because he said he would leave. Then it made me think Bob actually had a comment too, our other loyal listener, Bob. If Mannion gets into the game, I'm changing the channel. And then we replied, you should. Because, man, if he gets in.
Amen to that, Bob.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have a viable backup going forward here.
Jaron Hall will be back next week.
Yeah. Tanner had a funny tweet. It was either pregame or midgame. It was a picture of Mannion. I didn't realize he was number 19 when he got activated, but he was like, it is sacrilegious that this guy is wearing Adam Thielen's jersey. Like, get it off of him.
There's not one other number left.
I like watched him on the sidelines and stuff today too. He just doesn't look like he has any friends. I don't think that's the case. Like, I'm not saying that, but he just like he walks up and down the sideline by himself, like he is just a loner. I don't know.
Was Kirk at the game?
What?
Was Kirk at the game at all? Goose was on the broadcast.
No, they would have had him on. They would have had him on the big board multiple times if he was.
I thought when they were playing some Creed on the last minute, I thought maybe they were going to pan to Kirk in the suite or something, but never.
That was so. There's on the broadcast today. There's not always. I feel like you can't always hear like the stadium immersion on the broadcast. There were several like third downs that like you could hear the roar, and I was like, oh man, that sounds like the stadium is electric right now. And then at the end of the game, I could hear the Creed. First, I heard the Creed, and then I forget what the chorus is of that song. But then I heard the entire stadium sing it, and I was
Can
like,
you take me higher?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
I was getting into it.
Well, boys, 5 in a row. Next week, Sunday night in Denver. I don't know when we'll record leading up to that or after that. But, guys, if you're watching, you're still 35 minutes in following us here, throw some comments in the video here. What do you want us to talk about leading up to that game? Is it all Josh Dobbs and the hype train that's leaving the station? And then where do you see our record at the bye? Are we going to win the next two? What's that look like? And then overall, just outlook for the season. So throw some comments in there. We'd love to read them. We'll address them on the next one. Have a great week, everybody, and Skol.